Hello and welcome to QinA from MVS with an overview of the queer news from the past 2 weeks. These weeks in the news, Amnesty challenges to Iraqi president, Jamaican boycott, milk banned, and homeless shelters changed to accommodate trans people. Some U.S. congressional leaders are discussing partially repealing the Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA. This would allow the federal government to recognize gay marriages. Legislators would not discuss specifics, saying they are trying to reconcile different approaches so matching bills can be introduced in the House and the Senate. The first beneficiaries of the move would be those in states where gay marriages performed in other states are recognized. The proposals would still protect Section 2 of DOMA, which gives individual states the power to determine what types of unions they consider legal. DOMA was introduced to give states the right not to acknowledge same-sex marriage, even if recognized by another state. A Court of Appeals ruling has decided that trans people with California birth certificates who live in other states can now change their birth certificates to reflect their gender. Previously, only current California residents could amend their California birth certificates. The case was brought by the Transgender Law Center on behalf of Gigi Marie Summers, a 67-year-old trans woman who was born in California and now lives in Kansas. After the San Francisco Superior Court denied her petition due to the residency requirement, Ms. Summers took her case to the Court of Appeals. The court ruled that any person can amend their California birth certificate regardless of their current state of residence. U.S. gay rights activists have launched a campaign encouraging the boycotting of Jamaican products and services as a protest against the island's treatment of gays and lesbians. However, a Jamaican LGBT organization has said that the campaign could damage their cause, as one of the products targeted, Red Stripe Beer, is openly supporting the anti-hate movement. Jamaica is considered to be one of the most homophobic countries in the world, where gay sex between two men can carry a 10-year jail sentence or hard labor. Sex between two women is currently legal. Last month, it was revealed that gay men in Jamaica were at a higher risk of contracting HIV due to discrimination. Amnesty International has written to Iraqi President Nouri al-Maliki to demand urgent and concerted action by his government to stop the killings of gay men in the country. Amnesty believes the murders have been carried out by militiamen and relatives of the victims after being incited by religious leaders. Earlier this month, 2 gay men were found dead in the Baghdad Shiite slum of Sadr City following condemnations of homosexuality by a local leading cleric. Reports suggest a further 4 were murdered in March after the Shiite cleric Sattar al-Battat allegedly repeatedly condemned homosexuality. Amnesty's letter accuses the government of failing to condemn the killings publicly or to investigate the murders. It also suggested that evidence shows police are encouraged to target gay men and calls for officers who incite homophobic attacks to be held accountable. This past Thursday, Stadsdale Slotervaart hosted Professor of Sociology Abdesamad Dialmi from Rabat, Morocco, to speak over homo tolerance. Dialmi has been an advocate for sexual rights and openness for decades in Morocco. The lecture took place at the Stadsdale Kantor in Slotervaart and was given in Arabic and translated into Dutch.
أول محاضرة أول عرض أقوم به حول المثلية homosexuality في حياتي الجامعية. أدرس الموضوع الجنس منذ 1973 وما تصورت لحظة أنني سألقي أول محاضرة حول المثلية في أمستردام. كانت أمنيتي أن ألقيها في المغرب.
Bedankt iedereen. Sorry, ik weet iets vooraf zeggen, omdat ik ben geen tolk, voor de duidelijkheid. Ik zal zeker mijn best doen om te vertalen wat ik hoor, in het algemeen, op grote lijn. Maar om het kort te houden, de professor was hoogleraar, hij doseert in Rabat. Hij bedankt het stadsdeel dat hem uitgenodigd heeft. En het is een eer dat hij dit kan doen, omdat het voor het eerst dat hij dit geeft in het buitenland. En hij is sinds 1975 houdt hij zich bezig met dit thema, ondanks dat dit echt een taboe, moeilijk bespreekbaar thema is.
Internet retailer Amazon has apologized for thousands of books about gay and lesbian topics losing their sales ranking over the last few days, after they were labeled as adult books. Amazon previously ranked all books based on sales, but over the past few days, thousands of books on gay and lesbian topics have disappeared from the list. The company previously said that adult-themed books were removed from listings in consideration of their entire customer base. GLBT activists began pressuring the company and started a petition, which obtained over 25,000 signatures. Authors including E.M. Forster, James Baldwin, Doctor Who, and Torchwood star John Barrowman saw their books disappear from sales rankings. An 11-year-old boy from Massachusetts, U.S. killed himself after he was repeatedly bullied by classmates who bombarded him with anti-gay taunts. Carl Joseph Walker Hoover was found dead at his Springfield home last Monday night. He had hanged himself with an extension cable. His mother, who found him, said that he had been relentlessly bullied at the New Leadership Charter School for more than 6 months. Other students called him gay, a fag, and made fun of his clothes. The school blamed the incidents on immaturity. The Samoa Censor Board has banned Milk, a film depicting the life of gay rights activist Harvey Milk. The film is unable to be sold or rented in Samoan outlets. Home movie outlets have been upset as the film is in high demand from customers. Principal censor Laetu refused to comment, but insists that the ban on the film will not be lifted. Homosexuality is currently illegal in Samoa. 9 Senegalese men who are sentenced to 8 years in prison for indecent conduct and unnatural acts are appealing their decision. The Men's Council argued that there was no material proof for the accusations and that no specific complaint had been filed against the men. Most of the men belong to an advocacy group set up to combat HIV/AIDS. The 9 men were arrested in December last year at the apartment of Diadji Diouf, a prolific LGBT leader, and sentenced in January. Gay rights groups believe the 8-year sentence is the harshest ever handed down to anyone accused of gay sex in Senegal. Homosexual acts are punishable by imprisonment between 1 and 5 years in Senegal. A judgment on the case is expected April 20th. High numbers of trans people living on the streets have prompted homeless shelters to provide dedicated trans facilities in some places in the U.S. Activists have underscored the deaths of homeless trans women in Atlanta, Georgia, and Austin, Texas, to argue that adaptations are necessary for shelters to accommodate all people in need. Those living as trans men or women are more likely to suffer unemployment than others in the LGBT community, and often find it harder to maintain jobs due to discrimination. The National Gay and Lesbian Task Force and the National Coalition for the Homeless published a guidebook in 2006, providing shelter directors with advice on how to accommodate trans people more sensitively. Shelters in Boston, New York, San Francisco, Phoenix, and Austin have already adapted their facilities in order to accommodate more trans people sufficiently. That's it for QinA, and now a look at the agenda. Sunday, April 19th, you can go to Zonda at the Paradiso with Jos van Bellen, The Walk, and Roger 72. And a week later, on April 26th, are DJs Lupa, Besmunt Sound System, and visuals by Martin Duval. Saturday, April 25th, is a new Unk at Club 8. Lupa invites Hey Kids DJ, Sani, and supermodel Giovanni. Sunday, April 26th, Shores van der Panne and band with Leegte en Liedjes perform at 2:30 in the Engelenbach. The next meeting of the Pink Samosa is on Sunday, April 26th at the COC Amsterdam. This time they will be screening the movie Shansharam, or The Journey, a film about a lesbian couple in rural Kerala. And some tips for Queen's Day. Wednesday, April 29th, there is a Queen's Day foreplay at the Exit, an Orange Ball at the Schrijerstoren, and a Queen's Night street party at the Reguliersdwarsstraat. On Queen's Day itself, there are several street parties at the Reguliersdwarsstraat, the Amstel, and the Zeedijk, and a big party at Strand West by New Amsterdam's Front. Queen's Night, there is the second Roxy, a hard resurrection at the Odeon. Stay with us for another hour of programming from MBS. Ik wens u nog een heel prettige avond.